Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this, my second channel, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show goodness. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there is also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below this video. Now, we're in the in-between stages between the first and second live show, so I'm going to hand over to the live debate so you can hear the dulcet tones of whoever's in the panel while I set up for the second live show.
Wait, so he still hasn't answered the question. He doesn't know the circumference.
The distance to the edge of the flat Earth, or your model is dead.
Listen,
you just make yourself
Give
look
me the
ridiculous every
give
day,
me the
bro.
distance
I
to
agree,
the edge.
Larry. The model is dead because we don't have one. So he's never been alive.
What?
The model is never been alive, so
Actually,
it cannot be
the
dead.
model was alive 3 years ago, but then we debunked it, and then now it is dead. You had a model 3 years ago. The AE map.
The fact that you can't answer that question.
It's a projection. It's not a model.
Lori, you're not understanding that the fact that you can't answer that question makes you look ridiculous.
From the early days, we have
That's a silly point.
lost this for a long time now.
Like this is
Lori.
actually this is so
Lori.
silly.
Do you know it's silly that you came on here to defend this model of yours, but you don't even know the circumference of the Earth? That's crazy. You realize that. You realize how crazy that is, right? That you're in here to defend...
An argument that is? Do you know how silly that argument is? Like,
how is that silly?
Are you actually going after me because I don't have a number?
Nobody's
Nobody's
going after you. It's just a question.
Yeah.
just testing your knowledge. Just testing your knowledge.
You are a total agent, dude.
I know
You're the worst slippery red herring I've ever seen.
I know you are an agent, Arwin. Can you shut up?
You're a slippery red herring.
Can you shut up, Arwin?
Yeah, I can, but I don't. And you don't either.
Honestly, Lori, the fact that you can't answer that question makes every argument that you brought up so far irrelevant.
If that is where you go to, then you're being silly and like, do I really?
But how am I being silly? You came in here to defend. You came in here specifically to defend.
You're being a silly.
Listen. You came in here specifically to defend a model, a specific model, right? How do you not know the parameters of that very model that you're trying to defend? How does that compute to you?
I didn't come here to give you memorized numbers. If you think,
oh man,
you kind of need that if you want to defend your model.
Oh my goodness.
Larry's just a weak version of Rumpus, basically. He's just like Rumpus, but less talented at obfuscation.
A model
He's only
depends
got
on
a
the
couple of tricks up
ability
his
of
sleeve.
someone to quote numbers from the heart. Then you're being an idiot.
You know, we don't even believe that number. You realize that, right? That's your number. We're asking you if you know your number and you don't even know it.
That is why my model fails and you're so silly and childish.
Okay.
No, your credibility just took an absolute nosedive.
You don't even have a model. So why are you the winning
That's
party?
right.
Well,
We gladly say we don't have one.
Your credibility has been ruined.
You fail.
Yeah, perfect question, Randy. Thank you.
Your credibility can never recover from this. That's it. You're done, mate.
Because I didn't know the number by heart. If that's what convinces you, then
Total time-wasting troll.
Yeah, yesterday you were saying that the Earth curve calculator does account for perspective when it doesn't. Today you don't even know your model how the circumference of the Earth, which you should know.
You're being a silly cultist. Can you just shut up?
Pardon?
You're being a silly cultist. can you shut up?
Oh, are you getting upset now because you don't know the answer to your...
Guys, can I please kick him? I can't stand to hear the sound of his voice a second longer. He is a disgusting, slippery, red herring piece of shit.
I know
Probably
you're
an agent that's been handed a script that he doesn't actually understand. He just reads and searches stuff, and he's obviously here purely to waste our time. So can I please kick him?
Don't kick him yet. I mean,
no, there's a few more questions I want to ask him when the show starts.
Yes, Arwen. I mean, I know we kind of disagree with you, Arwen, but he's not Asian. Well, anyways, pretty much, Lowry. My concern is really your visual perspective and basically how you're looking things through the scope and what you see things. Now, this is not like pretty much a question for you, but pretty much a question for the whole panel. And the idea that we do all know exactly how the GoPro works, and it has 3 images. It would go from convex to horizon to concave. So my question to you, Larry, if you have something that's circular, like something from the moon or image, and if you were to use the GoPro image, would you have those 3 images? Convex, horizon, and concave, if you're actually to view a circular object.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, Larry. I mean, as far as right now, if between you and I, there's 3 images with the GoPro. There's a convex, there's a horizon line, and there's a concave. We all know there's 3 images. If you were to use a GoPro on a circular image, would you have all those 3 images?
Sure. Like, if we were to shoot a globe, or we can just take a ball also, and we take a GoPro and shoot it, then you would have all of those 3. So what you would do is you would, for example, take After Effects or some other program and correct for the like distortion in the image, so you would get the actual curvature.
All right. So you're saying if I were to use a GoPro that has 3 images, convex, horizon, and concave, and I look at a curved ball, I would still have those 3 images?
Depending on how you shoot it, but yes.
What does the panel have to say? Is he correct, or? Because I kind of disagree. If I'm actually looking at a curved ball, it would be a quick pitch from convex to concave without even exposing the horizon line if I were to look at a curved ball.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Larry, the Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, who's that? Physics Warrior, Jose Soundly Slayer Gonzalez, Flatten Earth, Daniel, Chocolate Saying, and Arwin. Got there in the end. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yo. What's going on?
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a turtle.
Goody.
Turtle.
Can you just
Turtle enough for the turtle club?
just for kicks and giggles, Ranty, is there any chance you can bring up your picture
flag.
that you had on the last show?
What was that, Nathan?
I said, Ranty, is there any chance you can bring up your pictures that you had from the last show?
Yeah. Give me one sec.
Somebody's bumping their mic.
Yeah, if we're not talking, we should go on mute.
Right. Which one do you want, Nathan?
Well, the video, I don't mind really. It's just because it's glorious imagery, and you know, I saw it on the last show, but it's not like I can go rewind the last show and watch it right now. And I would be if it wasn't for doing this show. So you know, I'd like to see it. It's as simple as that, really. It's nice to have it on screen.
Okey-dokey.
Excellent.
This
Right,
is the video.
Ranty's on.
Is the video.
This was sort of shown for the first time not yesterday on the last show, but this is Ranty at sort of 70 to 80 mile distance from the Isle of Man, from about 250 metres up in the air on a hill.
200.
200, my bad.
213. Yeah. What's also interesting is that I managed to do a composite versus composite. I think I sent it you in your Skype feed. So yesterday and the day before, I went to this location twice. It's the only two times I've been up there basically to do observations. And both times I saw the Isle of Man just like this. Filmed it. I put a composite together yesterday from the day before's footage. And today I've just put a composite together of yesterday's footage, and I've compared them because Rumpus said that this is, what did he call it? Super looming in the last show. I believe that's what he called it, super looming. So we're going to have a look at this super looming. So the top image was from yesterday's footage, and the bottom image was from the day before's. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these turbines to determine whether or not there's any change in the height of the mountains relative to the actual turbines themselves, and where they line up with the mountain itself. And as we go along, as we come along, what we're clearly seeing is there is absolutely no difference whatsoever with any of the turbine hubs in relation to the mountain above. They're all in the same position. And when you come on both images as well, on both images, we come across and we come to Greba Mountains, which are over here. In one image, we have the platform that's working on these wind turbines. On the other, we don't, because it wasn't there. But as I explained to you yesterday, and we saw Greba Mountains here, again, we've got Greba Mountains running behind it. And the turbines are exactly the same position. There's no additional looming on one day to the next. One was taken at, I believe it was around about midday, the day before yesterday, and one was taken after sunset yesterday. So two different weather conditions, both cold days, don't get me wrong, but there's absolutely no difference in between the two. So the idea that Rumpus can say this is looming seems nonsense, because essentially everything's in exactly the same place 2 days running. So they can't have super looming on 2 days. And if he wants to continue arguing this, I'll just keep going back and filming the same stuff over and over.
Well, I don't know what the hell super looming is, but the arbitrary 7/6R. Now the R bit's the problem, because that's the bit we're trying to prove. So to presuppose it is a radius-based sphere Earth that we're on, and then assume that light bends around that sphere Earth at 7/6R terrestrial refraction, which will be applied. Let's face it, it's in the calculator, and you dictate that if we're not seeing it through a vacuum, we've got to apply the standard refraction when we beg the question twice. No, we just see this stuff. There it is. It's there. We don't need any explanation for it. There's no need to explain why we see it. We see it. Now you need to explain it if you believe you live on a globe, because for you, you don't see it. This isn't there. It's not real. Nah, well, you're just an idiot. If you think this isn't real, then you're an idiot. Simple. It is real. There it is. Consistently.
Look at these beautiful lines, Nathan. Look how straight they are. Not seeing any curve.
Not seeing 1,000-foot obstruction either. But I mean, that
Yeah,
1,000-foot obstruction's kind of nigh on irrelevant because we figured out that using those sorts of terms, 1,000-foot wall, 1,300-foot mountain, doesn't account for the fact that these things get smaller into the distance. Their angular size changes. They're not using angular size for anything. Hey, UKPI.
As I say, this is a big problem for them because this is Greba Mountain behind here, and that shouldn't be seen. This entire mountain range here should not be seen. That's a real big problem because it's been there for 2 days solid.
Shouldn't be seen according to begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator, if you assume
that's
the
what
Earth
I meant
is a
to
sphere.
say.
Indeed. You're going to get sick of me, aren't you? I can tell. Yeah, it's just when you say it shouldn't be seen, it is seen. There it is, we see it. That's the end of the flat Earth explanation for it. The Earth's obviously inobservably flat. There you go, mountains, 80 miles. There it is. Well, Globehead says, no, according to Earth curve calculator, we shouldn't see it. Oh, well, who gives a shit what the Earth curve calculator says? We do see it. Well, no, you don't really see it. It's actually a looming. Really? No, I just see it. You go away, you religious tard. Believe whatever you like. If you want to believe you don't see what you see, then you're an idiot.
The super looming now, Nathan. Rumpus has retitled it.
Couldn't care less. We just see this stuff. There it is. I do see it. It is there. It's not a mirage. This is real. That is the Isle of Man. It's not popping up from behind some curve that we don't see.
Throw the word super in front of it.
Yeah, like I keep saying, the only way to make the assertion that we shouldn't see it but are seeing it because it's super looming is if you refer to a begging the question perspective hijacking proof of nothing curve calculator. So there's no need to assert whether or not we should see this or shouldn't see this according to some calculator. We do see it. It is there. Go away if you want to believe that we don't see it but do see it, and because it's a looming, then you're just an idiot tying yourself in knots over just looking at something. There it is. No explanation needed. You just see it. Isn't it pretty? End of explanation.
How high were those turbines?
They're all different heights. There are 3 sets of turbine fields that we're actually looking through. So there's Ormond, then you go through Walney, then you go through Walney Extension, and they all have different designs, different hub heights, different blade lengths. So they're all different.
And how high are the mountains in the background?
Depends on which one you want to talk about. If you want to talk about Greba Mountains, they're 1,300 feet.
And they're quite significantly below the turbines.
Yeah, that's because they're further away.
Things get smaller. Things get smaller the further away they go.
Was that a serious objection? No, I'm being dead serious, UKPI. Do you genuinely think that's a problem, that things get smaller into the distance?
Well, they don't actually get smaller, do they?
Yes, the angular size decreases. Yes, they do. The angular size does indeed decrease. You are wrong. Would you like to concede that they don't get smaller? The angular size does indeed decrease. Yes, it does get smaller. The angular size. Something you ignore in your calculator.
They get further away. They don't get smaller.
UKPI, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So your comment just now seems to indicate that you think that those mountains from our viewing point should be higher than the turbines. Is that what you're implying?
Depending on where you're standing, yes. Yeah.
Okay, give me 2 minutes to find something, Nate. Because I'm glad that he's actually brought that up. Just give me a couple of minutes to find something. I think that's it. Ah, yes, that's it. Right, let me reshare my screen. So we're going to go with logic now. So I'm assuming you're going to be a logical person. Yeah?
I'll try to be, yeah.
Okay, right, that's good. That's great. So I want you to be logical and reasonable. And the distance to this mountain is 73.4 miles, and that mountain is called Carn Jerjoil. And Muluk Ua, which is this mountain here, is 73.5 miles away. Would you agree that essentially they're the same distance, 73.4 to 73.5? Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to see what your
Well, never mind the point. Just agree that if this is 73.5 and this is 73.4, essentially they're the same distance apart from my observer. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. And we have heights for these. We have this mountain here that's 73.5 miles away is 1,600 feet. And this mountain here, which is 73.4, is 1,411, yeah? So there's a 200-foot, almost a 200-foot height difference between the two. So if I get a ruler, and we have a ruler here from 0 to 16, and we use the 16 as in 1,600 feet for the one on the right, and we scale it, 1,600 feet to the one on the right, and 1,411 to the one on the left, we now have a scaled ruler. So the ruler is now scaled correctly in proportion, seeing as these are the same distance apart. Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen that done before, yeah.
Okay, so if the ruler's now scaled correctly, and all we need now is to say, well, we've got it lined up for the 1,600 feet, lined up for the 1,411, then at what height are we seeing down to? What height would you say we are seeing down to? In feet, this is obviously that's 100 feet there. Would you say maybe 50 feet above sea level? Yeah, so 50. So when you consider there should be about 1,300 feet of curvature, yeah. So the 1,300 foot on curvature would mean that the horizon that we would be looking at is where my cursor is now. Would you agree that it's more of a flat Earth proof or a ball Earth proof? These particular images. In your model, I should only see down. In your model, I should only see down to 1,300 feet, which would be here. And yet, the reality. Reality shows us seeing.
Have a model.
Okay, well, the ball Earth model says that the horizon should be where my cursor is, and yet reality says that the horizon is way down here to the scaled ruler that says it's about 50 feet. Yeah, that's just a bit of logic and reason by running through these mountains. Now, I know you said that how come they look smaller in the distance, but we have the mountain ranges matched up here. We've matched them up.
Yeah.
We know their distances. This is those mountains.
So what is the 1,700?
Benny Y Fot, which is I don't know actually where that is. Let's have a look, see if I can find it. Benny, that will be over here. That's North Barul. Where's Benny? Benny Y Fot. There we go. Benny Y Fot is 74.5 miles away, much further. So that's why when I was trying to use mountain ranges that were the same distance away, 73.5 and 73.4, you couldn't really do Benny de Fot because it's much further away. It's another mile, 1.1 miles further away. So the only two mountain ranges that are relatively close to each other from my position were these two mountain ranges here.
Right, so 73 miles away from your position.
Yep.
How many miles away from the nearest turbine?
Hang on, what's that got to do with anything? I'm just
that would show that would certainly show a drop, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you're still not understanding me, are you?
If it's dropping away, you go to the turbine.
I've really just been trying to do this very logically with you, and you seem to be forgetting the point I'm making. Which, if I know that this mountain range and this mountain range, I know their heights and distances, I can scale it with using a ruler, and to prove how much of this mountain range we're actually seeing down to. And we're seeing down to about 50 foot, which you conceded we were seeing down to about 50 foot. You only changed your mind when I said that 1,300 feet of the curve calc should be missing, and then decided to talk about the wind turbine.
Well, because the wind turbines are in between you and
Yes,
the mountains, aren't they?
And we see all of them. We see all of the wind turbines. There's nothing missing on these
I get
turbines.
the problem. I also get the problem. If the wind turbines are not at the same place as the mountain, then you cannot use them as a ruler.
They're not being used in this reference.
The turbines aren't. The turbines are not being used at all. The two mountain ranges are. The two mountain ranges that we have identified and know their distance, know their height, Carnju, Joel, and Mulach Oya, we know their heights and distances, and we can scale that to the peaks of each, and we can get a rough estimate of how far we're seeing down the mountain. We don't need to see any.
I'm sure you can get a calculation of the size of the turbines. So you use the turbine first.
Wait a minute. What's that got to do with this logic and reason that I asked you to go through before?
Because anything in the background of the turbines, whatever height the turbine's at, should be either below or the same or above.
No, I've just already explained. There's 3 to 4 different make and model of turbines in this one image.
Sorry, is your point literally the same? Hold on, I just want to ascertain what UKPI's point is.
I get that if you're looking at a 16,000 foot turbine, but I don't think you are.
Sorry, what's the point that you're making exactly? Is it literally the same as Miles Davis's, that if we exclude perspective, the mountains would remain higher than the turbines?
I don't think we're excluding perspective.
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, if you don't, well, maybe if I just say this to you, things get smaller with distance. Does that not make sense?
Things don't get smaller. They don't change in size.
Yes, in angular size, they do. Didn't we have this conversation a few moments ago and I corrected you then? Yes, they do change in size. Angular size. Yes, they do change in size. Angular size. Because it is further, the angular size is smaller. This obliterates your objection. Is there anything else, UKPI, about these turbines? Anything else you'd like to add that's nonsense, like Miles Davis has asserted? If we exclude perspective, yes, then the higher feet and inches value of the mountain would always be higher than the feet and inches value of the turbines. Unfortunately, the angular size of the mountain is smaller because it's further. Even though the feet and inches you use in your calculator remains the same. Is that clear, UKPI? Because I'll explain it again for a third time if it's not.
I'm getting so tired of these rants.
Right, who was addressing you? Get out, Larry. That's your stupid interrupting wanker. Get out. UKPI, answer me. Was my explanation clear or not?
So what you're trying to say is 900 foot turbine, if it is that, becomes taller than a 16,000 foot bloody mountain.
Yes, the angular size of the turbines is indeed bigger than the angular size of the mountains in the distance. Yes, that's my point. Do you understand it yet, UKPI? Are you going to rephrase my point as though it's a question? Do you understand it or not?
I do understand it, yeah.
Right. If you understand it, answer me this. Why does your calculation for a globe Earth only use a measurement that does not change with distance. That would be feet and inches. Why would that be?
I'm not calculating for a globe Earth. I'm not doing that. I don't
really?
Not true, UK. That's not...
It seems to me that you told me that it should be dropping. Now, when you said that, did you mean dropping in relation to a globe Earth?
I don't calculate for either. I'm looking at what makes sense and what doesn't make sense.
No, that's not true, UKPI. I'd like to address that because I've been waiting to do that. You asked a question about the distance between the turbines and the mountains. You said how far away are the turbines from the mountains? Now, you didn't elaborate on that, but your question, even though you didn't elaborate, your question implies that you think something should be true if those turbines are X distance away from the mountains, which means you are operating on a model. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking that question. So what model are you operating on that leads you to ask what the distance is between the turbines and the mountains?
Because that's it. That's the only thing that can come to a true conclusion.
Okay, you're not answering my question. I'm asking you, what model are you operating on?
Is he putting anything out there? Are you Glober? UK Pi?
I'm neither nor.
Right.
Okay, he just comes here to defend Miles Davis because he's not a globehead. He just defends Miles Davis because he's not a globehead.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Whatever.
Maybe using.
Ranty, go back to the turbines again in the when they're highlighted.
The thing is, Miles Davis actually makes sense, and he walks you through it.
Oh, really? The problem Miles Davis has got, I've explained to you 4 times. He uses the actual sizes of this stuff and asserts that it wouldn't change size because it doesn't change feet and inches size, the size you use in your calculator, at distance. Now, I've explained this to you 4 times, and yet you still seem to believe that Miles Davis, as you put it, makes sense. No, he has a faulty reasoning behind his assertion, UKPI, because he excludes perspective. The way he does it is using the whole feet and inches numbers, because a 10-foot wall is a 10-foot wall, even if you're at 80 miles distance. But surprisingly, angular size would dictate whether or not it's bigger or smaller than something in the foreground, because that's what perspective is, something ignored by Miles Davis. So do you still think this retard Miles Davis, who ignores perspective, is making sense? Because he isn't.
And perspective's going to throw out that much that it's going to put...
Oh, so let's pretend it's not important. It's absolutely applicable and ignored by the use of whole numbers. So you're going to try and justify ignoring it now? It's not that important.
But is it going to throw thousands of feet of mountain below?
Sorry, are you thick? Not thousands of feet? I've just said we're dealing with angles and you can't help yourself. You have to use a value that ignores angles, feet and inches. So how many thousands of feet are missing is irrelevant when you're dealing with angles, UKPI. We're dealing with perspective that is included. So don't tell me about how many feet should be missing, because that isn't relevant when you're dealing with relative size. See that boat? Yeah? That's not a Tonka toy. It's just small because it's in the distance.
Size. Everything has a size.
All right, let me jump in. Let me jump in real quick and ask a question.
Angular size.
Hold on. Go back to your image, Ranty, please. Go back to the turbines.
But it would be impossible to see that much of the mountain if we were on a globe.
Hold on.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Okay, Ranty, put your cursor up on the single turbine toward the middle. To the right.
Whoa, suddenly it's above the mountain.
UK, hold on, UKPI. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
Suddenly you've got them above the mountain.
No, UKPI, listen. Imagine that we could slide that turbine closer to us right now. If it were closer to us, would it appear larger than the mountain, taller?
Depending on where you're standing.
No, we're from right where we're at. Right from where we're at.
I don't know where you're at.
Okay, let me try a different tact. Travis, let me just try it differently. Yep. If it was in front of your face, a foot away, listen, PI. Listen to me, UKPI. You're now standing next to a turbine. It is 1 foot away from you. Does it appear bigger than the mountain?
Am I lying down looking at the base, or am I...
You're standing next to it.
Above it.
You're standing next to it, and I can guarantee that you haven't got a wide enough angle to even include the whole thing if it's a foot away from you. It's so big, it's bigger than your field of view, even though you can still see the mountain in the field of view. The thing next to you is massive. It fills all of your view. Amazing, isn't it? But that's perspective, isn't it? Something you're saying wouldn't make very much difference. So while you rumpus the hell out of me while I explain the point that you don't seem to get, 5th time we've explained this to you, just another globehead that doesn't seem to get stupid, simple points. If it's right in front of you, it's bigger than the mountain. Isn't it, idiot?
If we're looking at...
Yes, Nathan. If it was right in front of my face, it would be bigger than the mountain in the background. That's perspective, yes. This cow is big. That cow's small away. This is the level. This is the level of Father Ted dealing with Dougal. The cow that is in front of you is big. The cow that's in the distance isn't toy-sized. It's just far away. Yeah? So if you've got a turbine in front of you, it could potentially fill this entire frame. Looking massive by comparison to the mountain, right? No, it's still the same size, it's just closer.
Right.
Well, perspective, you would
okay,
see
right, listen. Put your hand in front of your face. Put your hand in front of your face so you can't see anything, right? And then push your hand away. And when you push your hand away, suddenly you can see things.
I can't believe we're having to do this. Basically, UKPI, what this is a demolition of the globe religion. Because what the globe religion does is removes perspective. This very obvious stuff that we're humiliating you with, this basic stuff that children would understand. Something close to you could potentially be bigger in your field of view than something far away. But that's excluded in your calculations. Miles the retard Davis has excluded that and claims that stuff that is far away should be at the same bloody height as if it's right next to you, because he ignores all angular sizes and only uses the feet and inches. That's the 6th time I've explained this fundamental flaw in your religion to you. Do you still not understand it?
Whatever.
Oh, whatever. I tell you what, right, I'm going to be a teenage dick and just say, yeah, man, whatever.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
And then you Glovers come in here and wonder why you get treated the way you do.
Yeah, because they're retards.
One guy can't answer what the hell the circumference of the damn Earth is, and the other guy doesn't understand perspective. Like, you guys are idiots. I'm sorry, man, but I mean, this is like Nathan said. It's like this is shit that 5-year-olds can understand.
Yeah, the way Ranty presented it could not be any clearer.
Realize that we've travelled right around the bloody Earth.
Oh, so rather than actually address the point we've addressed to you 6 times without concession, we're going to move on. Do I have to ask you a 7th time before you get this stupid point that we have pointed out to you? I bet you
if you asked the child, does the child think that it just traveled around the ball? The child would say no, because that doesn't make sense.
We've circumnavigated the globe.
No. Stop. Yeah. Hold on. Chocolate. Yeah. No. 6 times I've attempted to get him to concede that stuff in the foreground can be bigger than stuff in the background. Something excluded from his example he thinks makes sense that was given to him by an idiot, Miles Davis. 6 times. So I'm not moving on to circumnavigation. Shut up! You stupid, ignorant idiot! 7th time. Things close to you can look bigger than things far away. Do you get it?
Oh, you're now saying can look.
Yeah! It's about apparent sizes, you complete moron. Angular sizes, not the feet and inches used in your begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator. That's the 7th time. You're not conceding. You're pointing my point back out to me like it's an objection.
If it's your eye line, it's your eye line. You look out.
So you still won't concede. So according to you, if I'm in eye line with a turbine that's absolutely enormous, what about the hand example that Ranty gave? You put your hand in front of your face, it's in your eye line. When you move it away, more stuff behind comes visible because of perspective. This is the 8th time we have explained this to something that a child could get, and you won't concede. You'd rather move on to circumnavigation.
He's upset, Nathan. He's upset because he basically did something that no Glober has ever done before. He actually went through with logic and reason the presentation that I did, and he agreed that we saw down to 50 feet. He only changed his mind when I told him that didn't match the globe model. All these Glober friends are going to be fuming with him. They're going to be fuming with him.
You're a zealot.
Fuming.
PI. To take 7 times to concede that stuff in the foreground's bigger than stuff in the background. Yeah, that's 7 times that you haven't conceded it. And it's literally something that every person in the audience, every person on the panel understands intrinsically. They also understand intrinsically that it's excluded from your maths that you use for your religious belief in a globe.
I get the fact that things look bigger in the foreground than in the background. But at eye level, they will go away from you.
Who gives a crap? So if things look bigger in the foreground than they do in the background, and your mathematics only gives the actual sizes of things, that doesn't change. Regardless of the distance, a 10-foot wall in your mathematics for the Earth curve is a 10-foot wall regardless of distance. So I couldn't give a crap about what you're asserting about eye line. It makes no difference. Your calculator doesn't account for that fact. You're going to concede that that's the main point.
If it drops away from my eye line...
So he's going to reassert his shit. Your calculator doesn't account for eye line. It doesn't account for angles. It only accounts for the actual size, and that will not change with distance. That's our point. Now you're trying to assert another crappy Miles Davis point, totally ignoring something that now 8 times you've had pointed out to you, and you still have not conceded. It's not in your maths. It's not there. Whole numbers exclude perspective. This is the point. Listen, this is the point. The whole numbers used in the globe maths exclude perspective. I don't want to hear any crap about eye lines. Who cares? It's a red herring. That's the point. Perspective's real. Your maths doesn't include it. Ninth time. Hello. 9th time. Don't change the subject, anybody else on the panel.
Really?
UKPI, I'm talking to you.
Now.
You didn't.
Where you place a camera, you're disbelieving your own eyes now. Where you stand and look out, and you've got a trajectory right in front of you, and you're disbelieving that now.
Sorry, you just said you believe your own eyes, then you've got a trajectory and you disbelieve your own eyes. You're now literally engaging in doublespeak. That's doublespeak. That's just doublespeak.
With your eyes.
You've just engaged in doublespeak. You've just said you believing your own eyes, you've got some sort of angle to it, and you're disbelieving your own eyes. That's doublespeak. So, do I have to say it for a 10th time? Seriously, UKPI. Your maths excludes the fact that things get smaller into the distance and uses a misrepresentation that excludes the very real nature of perspective. 10th time.
What's your observer?
You're not here to obfuscate my point. I'm going to get him to concede, Rumpus. You're not here to back him up. I'm going to ask him indefinitely till the end of the show to show just how big a zealot UKPI is.
I've already told you that I don't believe either or.
So you concede that the mathematics for the globe exclude perspective by way of using whole numbers and actual... See, when I get you to actually concede... arsehole. That's when you talk over me. I'm summarising the point you haven't conceded. This is now the 11th time I'm saying it without a concession, and I'm going to do it till the end of the show to show what a zealot you are. So, I will say it again for the 11th time.
Why don't you freaking answer it?
Yeah, your maths for the globe exclude perspective by way of using the actual whole number sizes of things which remain the same at any distance.
Low.
UKPI, that is addressed to you for the 11th time.
Hi, Owen.
Hello, please.
I don't want anybody else to talk. I want UKPI to concede that his mathematics he's come in asserting that Miles Davis has used as accurate and correct representations exclude the very real nature of perspective by way of using whole numbers and not angles. When is he going to concede this?
I don't know how Miles Davis did his thing. I don't watch many of his things at all. So.
You came in arguing for him and defending his honour, so don't lie to me.
I'm not defending anyone.
I'm not defending anybody, even though I came in and defended it on this show. You're just a liar.
Stop using my voice.
I've got my own bloody mind, thank you very much. And
okay, no worries. The mathematics used for the globe exclude perspective. The way they do this is excluding the angles and using actual sizes that will not change at any distance. Do you accept this now? I have said it 12 times.
If Miles Davis did that, then I accept that. Well, he should accept that. But
no, I specifically addressed this to you.
I think he actually showed you.
You said I don't know what Miles Davis thinks, and I said no problem. I'll address this to you. So I'm going to have to ask a 13th time and put the words UKPI that's bringing in. No problem. UKPI, I am addressing this question to you. Do you concede that the globe mathematics exclude the angle of view and therefore perspective by using whole numbers that will not change any observable reality at any distance?
No. Right. Yeah, okay.
Can you repeat that?
No. Yeah, hey, who the fuck's saying that?
Sorry, so rather than concede it, you're going to swear to try and get kicked out? Do I need to say it a 14th and a 15th and a 16th time?
No, hey, did I not just concede it to you?
I didn't hear you. Can you say it, concede it again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Well, I did, didn't I? Up until I was rudely talked over by some little child.
So you're being very vague, so can you do it
Owen,
again? And now
Owen, I'm at the point that he'll actually concede. I don't mind his ad homs at this point. No problem. So you do concede that the mathematics exclude perspective?
Yes, they may do.
They do. They absolutely exclude perspective by way of using whole numbers that will not change at any distance, UKPI. Do you understand that they exclude perspective? Now I've explained it to you 14 times.
That's the same question that I just answered.
So you do understand that the mathematics excludes perspective?
Is that the same question that I just answered?
Yes, I'd like to hear. Considering I asked it 14 times, asking for you to concede it more than once is not unreasonable. Not laugh, concede. Concede that your globe is a magical lie based on the exclusion of perspective.
But it doesn't change anything, does it, really?
Oh, really? Yes, it does. Because there are many people in the audience, UKPI, who think that's their world. They think that's reality. And like you've just conceded, it excludes the very reality that we deal with every time we open our bloody eyeballs. That would be perspective. It excludes it. as conceded by you. Thank you for conceding the nonsense, ridiculous, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator, because it's useless. And lots of people think that's their world based on a radius UKPI.
I know, and it's a complete bugger for any artist trying to draw any kind of picture, because they just don't get perspective, because hey, it'll just look like shit.
They actually do.
Who cares? We're not talking about artists drawing pictures. We're talking about retards who think they live on a globe, painting a picture of a photograph that we see in side elevation and using whole numbers to deceive the world into thinking that perspective's actually curvature. That's what we're talking about, not artists, you ham-handed idiot.
You just have to believe your eyes then.
That's just another nonsense statement. Yeah, so following the demolition of the curve calculator, which many of the audience members do still believe in and think represents reality based on a begging the question fallacy, your answer to that is to talk about artistry and then just throw out that we should believe our own eyes. Yeah, I believe we should believe our own eyes. When we see stuff, we shouldn't believe it's looming. That's right, we should believe our own eyes, UKPI. First thing I agree with.
Well, exactly, because artists look at things, draw things, paint things in perspective so that we can actually see what they saw.
Yeah, so why doesn't the curve calculator do that?
If you're gonna draw mountains below fucking turbines and things like that, then you begin to be a little bit of a child with maybe a house with the windows and the corners. What the bloody hell is the point of this crap?
What the hell is the point of this?
Perspective.
Who cares?
Perspective goes out.
Who cares? When you religiotards draw a picture of our world, you remove all aspects that you're describing.
It just all goes to shit, doesn't it?
What? The globe?
All the photographers that
the globe goes to crap because we have pointed out that it excludes perspective. Now you're talking about art. We're talking about the globe here, UKPI. Let's not stick our head in the sand. The globe doesn't work. It's hijacked perspective and called it curvature. The globe doesn't work, UKPI. Who cares about art? We're talking about the world.
Yeah, I'm just talking about perspective just now
and
how that works.
Well, it is excluded from the globe. You want to talk all about how something works when it's not applied? Does that not concern you that the maths applied by all of the people who come on this show and say we live on a globe excludes the very real nature of perspective? Does that not set alarm bells off for you? No, I think I'll talk about art for a bit.
Can you put me on for a second?
No, I was just mentioning perspective and how it's used by actual people with brains.
So ad homing us now, are we? So finally conceded. The globe maths is nonsense, UKPI. All nonsense. Every idiot that's come on here and asserted it has excluded perspective, something we deal with in the picture. So all of the people who've done that are wrong. Every one of them.
So what's this crap that I'm looking at?
Right, it's time for you to leave, is it? It's time for UKPI to get the hell out. You're no longer of use to me, UKPI. Don't ask what this crap is. Your crappy calculator. That's what this crap is. Your crappy calculator that excludes perspective. A fundamental reality that we have to deal with when we open our eyes each day. It ignores that. Thanks for conceding it. I'll be sure to point Rumpus in your direction. You hear that, Rumpus? Your calculator that you apply to the vision that we have doesn't work. Stupid calculator. It lies to the people who think they're on a globe. Sorry, Ranty. Rant over.
Right, UKPI. Right.
I've kicked him because he was about to say, "What's this crap?" That was his reply to you starting to draw, so you can tell his temperament, having had his religion taken to pieces again.
Well, he was saying, how can the turbine not appear higher than the mountain? So this is the mountain, that's the turbine in the middle, and that's the viewer height. So the viewer height looking to the top of the turbine, and we've got these red dots going off into the distance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the mountain in front of it, And then all I'm going to do is push the mountain away because the mountain is bigger. And eventually what we're going to do, the further the mountain goes away, suddenly in the line of perspective, the turbine now is higher than the mountain. Even though the mountain is bigger, it's just further away. Dead easy.
It beggars belief that you should have to do this, so I've got to be honest, Ranty.
I thought you couldn't use orthographic diagrams.
And
Dead
we can explain
easy.
it to people in crayon, no
That's
problem.
why I did this.
Well, it's not orthographic, it's side view.
Side view. What do you think? Do you think he was being incredibly stupid?
Sorry, I just want to address what Alan's just said. Nobody has said that you can't use a side view. Nobody has said that. The point, Alan, is that in order to hijack perspective, the curve calculator uses a side view, which excludes all aspects of perspective by using whole numbers that don't change. The mountain's the same side in side view.
To be fair, though,
I haven't finished my sentence. The mountain's the same size in the mountain, Alan, is the same size in side elevation on the left-hand side of the page or on the right-hand side of the page. But that's representing it get further away in this view like on screen now. Well, it gets smaller. The angular size decreases, but that's not represented in side view, and that's what the calculator does. So no, Alan, we're not saying you can't use side view. We're saying dicks like you who think they live on a globe use side view when misrepresenting the world. A very cogent point, I think you'll agree, Alan.
No, not really. It's not.
Oh, well, that's because you're a wanker who thinks he lives on a globe. Well, it is a very cogent point, because that, Alan, is how they've deceived you into thinking you live on a bloody sphere, by excluding the very nature of reality and calling it Earth curve. So you don't think it's cogent because you're a zealot.
You're being silly.
Oh, it's silly, is it? No, it's a demolition of your religion. It's not silly, it's the end of your worldview, Alan. Now, you can stick your hand in the sand too and go, la, 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 this is just silly. No, it's not, Alan. Your worldview is represented by begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking. That's the bit we're talking about now. The bit where they put it in side view and remove all perspective, the thing that makes things get smaller into the distance. And you claim it should stay the same feet and inches value, because it does in a side elevation. Oh, this is silly. Right, Alan?
You are silly, though.
Oh, well, that's the best you've got, is it? No rebuttal, just call me silly. Well, you're old, an idiot.
You're gammon-faced.
Oh, right. So it's just ad hom time, is it? No, this is not going to be obfuscated, Alan. Yeah, as conceded by UKPI, your calculator excludes perspective, and we definitely have perspective, Alan. So your calculator's junk. It doesn't represent the world. Your model's garbage. It's a begging the question fallacy on acid.
I thought you said, though, a couple of days ago that we can't use any side elevation diagrams.
Oh, so you're going to reassert the crap point that I've just taken apart, are you, asshole? No, I have literally, in the last 5 minutes, told you that I have not said you can't use side profile. I have pointed out that the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking calculator puts a real world observation into side view so you can exclude perspective and call it curvature. Are you going to misrepresent my position for a third time because you're deaf, dumb or stupid?
But it doesn't measure angular size.
That's my point.
Hello? That's his
Hello?
point.
Are you going to assert my point like it's an objection, like the other asshole, Lowry? Do you think that's an objection? No, Alan. That's the point.
But the sizes remain the same, Nathan.
Oh, you think this is funny, do you? Oh, really? That was a bit of a funny slip. You letting that little bit of laughter out. This isn't amusing to me, Alan. Not amusing. The whole world thinks they live on a globe because of this shit. You think it's just a bit of a laugh. They don't remain the same size. The angles change, Alan. Yeah, you arsehole. Get out. You think this is a joke? The whole world's been lied to about this crap by using this orthographic view that excludes perspective. Alan thinks that's funny.
We've got Mbessa in. I think he lives on the Isle of Man. Is that right?
Hey, Mbessa. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see you join, mate.
Nice to see you in. You haven't been in for a while.
Bye, Alan.
Bye.
What do you think of the
Yeah,
observation
Alan.
of the Isle of Man?
Yeah, that's why I joined. I've shared the show with Manx Forums today to try and get China Hand to come on the panel.
Awesome.
But I don't think China Hand wants to come in here with you boys.
Stick it up, and oh God, I've done it again. Stick it up, Ranty. Every time.
Stick what up? What?
Stick the picture that you've just taken yesterday with the black and white image.
Where's
Black
this
and white
observation
image.
from, Natty?
It's from. Where's it from? It's from Nicky Nook in near Preston. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
right, Rumpus.
So Nathan, we're all allowed to use side elevation diagrams now. Excellent stuff. Nice piece of contradiction there. Excellent stuff. You don't understand.
Asshole, I just explained this 3 times. 3 times I just explained this. Are you deaf? Right, let's explain it again very calmly for the asshole known as the Rumpus. We have never said you can't use side elevations. What we have said is the curve calculator puts the world that we see, this, what we've got on screen now, this is real world with perspective. It puts that into a side profile. See, let's just show the audience what's happening for the hangout.
You are hypocritical. You said you could.
So he's just talking non-stop. So he thinks he can obfuscate this point. Let's kick him out. No, he's misrepresenting my point of view. That's why he's getting kicked out. I've pointed that out twice to Alan. He laughed when he realised that he's not going to manage to obfuscate it, and I had him up against the wall. Rumpus has now come in to reassert the exact same shit. I have never said, and nobody on this panel has said, you can't use side view. That's total nonsense. What we said was the calculator has hijacked perspective by using a side view that excludes angles and takes whole numbers only. That's what his calculator does. So I'm not a hypocrite. I'm demolishing your religion. Don't come here and misrepresent my position, asshole. What are you doing back here? What are you doing back? I kicked you out because you're a wanker. You think it's funny to just do what Rumpus has just done? So this asshole that I've just kicked off, Alan, who's come back, right? He laughed when we got to the point that I ripped him a new one. Rumpus has come on to do the exact same shit. Now he's come back to do it again. No, Alan, you just think it's funny to misrepresent our position. This is a demolition of your religion, globetards in the audience. Your calculator's not real. It doesn't represent reality in any way, shape or form. Every Muppet, Gem Panda, you've used the calculator, right? Morgul Lighthouse should or shouldn't be seen. All the people who debated the Isle of Man, UKPI, go and speak to them all. They don't understand that it is misrepresenting reality with a side view. And you know it's doing that because the size of the mountain's measured in feet according to globetards. There it is on screen. They say it's 1,785 feet. And that won't change if it's right in front of your very nose. If you stood next to it, it's blocking everything. You can't see a single thing. It's the exact same size as this at 80 miles. That's how they exclude perspective. And every time I say it, you'll get a wanker like Rumpus come in and tell me that, actually, I'm now a hypocrite. No, Rumpus, you won't destroy this point. We've finally figured out the magic trick. We've figured out how you, personally, lie to every globehead retard who's watching, who believes in this shit, who thinks that you've got the answer with maths, that we should or shouldn't see certain amounts of the beach. Well, you're all deluded by people like Rumpus. He's done it with the use of whole numbers, by calling a mountain 1,000 feet at any distance. And that's not reality. The angular size does get smaller, but they ignore that, so they can tell you it's Earth curve. That's how you idiots in the audience have been deceived. This is how they lie to you.
So how have you been, Mbessa? Not seen you for a while. Since the last time we talked about
busy, but I don't miss a show.
How have you found the debates have been going the last few months? Do you think we've been getting anywhere?
Yeah, you've progressed well.
Yeah,
as
different
as
to the
you
year
can tell
ago.
by Rumpus's desperation.
They're all desperate. That's all they send in now is just idiots. people. We had a guy that came in. He didn't know the circumference of the Earth. Literally, he talked for 45 minutes saying about how he knew his model. And then just before the end of the show, I said to him, "Do you know the circumference of the Earth?" And he spent the entire next 10, 15 minutes off air. Well, I think it'll be re-uploaded on Nathan's, saying that he didn't need to know the circumference of the Earth.
Which was a fantastic question, Rancy, by the way. Like sometimes I think that's what we need to do. We need to start questioning these guys and their ability to spit the nonsense of their own model. Because if you're going to come in here and argue for the globe, at least know the circumference, guy. Come on.
Guys, there's a new curvature calculator apparently out there. Somebody in chat pointed me at it. I posted it in the side chat. Might want to take a look at it.
Arwen.
Yeah?
Did you see that Google Earth have changed their Google Earth now to 3D as well?
Sorry?
Google Earth have changed the map on there to a 3D, so it represents the actual sizes rather than the Mercator projection, I think it was, or the Gauss-Peters projection.
Really?
Yeah, I could link it there. I'll link an article to it.
I'm going to check it out right now.
Or just Google it yourself, just say Google Earth has changed to 3D.
Google Maps?
Google Maps, that's it, yeah. So obviously they pick Iceland as the example, or Greenland, sorry, to show that normally it's misrepresented, isn't it? In size and actual size, compared to like Australia and Africa and stuff.
No, it looks exactly the same.
Well, just search Google for an article about Google Maps changing to 3D. I've definitely seen it.
Well, they changed it into a globe model. That's what they did.
Right.
Let's see if the scaling phenomena are still there.
That's what I was thinking, because you found that on Google Maps. There was a scaling issue, wasn't there?
Yeah, the scaling is still there. It's the same map, sorry. It's exactly the same.
But they have changed the actual sizes, haven't they?
No.
Not in the 3D map?
You mean the satellite map?
Well, the continent sizes are now...
No, they're exactly the same as they were.
Right, I'll have to get you the article and send you it.
I'll represent.
So, Ambassador, do you know this Greba Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing it, aren't we? I mean,
so you can catch up with the rest of this conversation at around 4 a.m. UK time, or 0400 GMT, later on tomorrow for the Brits. But in the meantime, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you missed the first show, because you're a bit of a late riser over in the States, then it will replay with the pre-show on my second channel as soon as this live stream ends. So be sure to tune in if you missed the first show. Once again, a massive thank you to all the debating panel and live audience for tuning in. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Well, I haven't got a great camera. I have got the images on my phone, but you can barely make it out. But usually, as you look towards St. Bees, you can always see the lakes. But as you look to the right of the harbour in Douglas, it's very, very rare that you will see land that way. I don't know why, but obviously it's a little bit further away. But yeah, the other week it was so clear you could see it all.
Wow. And that's the thing, they say, when it's really clear and we've got nice weather, they say that's the perfect weather for looming. Yeah? And it's not. It just seems that it's after a full moon, maybe not the very next day, but the day after. That is just the days, and the next 2 or 3 days after that is when the clarity of the air is exceptional.
Right? Never noticed.
Well, I didn't, but I've been following it the past, I'd say, 4 months. and that's what I'm finding. Definitely what I'm finding.
Well, I get to see across the water each day because I live in Douglas, and obviously it's only down the road. So most days you see, obviously, the lakes, but you just get different clarity on each day, so you can see more or a bit further down or whatever. But yeah, it's quite often we can see across the water.
Man, you should get yourself a camera, because I have a feeling that us looking your way is more difficult than you looking our way.
I think it might be, yeah. My mate's got the P900, but he's a hard man to get hold of, let's just say that, Nancy. He's always out somewhere else when I need him. Oh, that's another thing that I meant to mention. Did you see this 50-meter, small scope, $50? Keep advertising it on Facebook. It's a small scope and it's got infrared on it as well.
No?
I'll have to send you a link to that as well.
Right.
Obviously, it hasn't got recording facility, but, you know, it looks like the super zoom of a P1000.
Guys, I'm gonna go. See you later.
Is Owen?
Okay.
That was superb.
Right,
Thank you so much for sharing all that footage with us, by the way.
Take
Fucking
care,
epic. I love it when you've got a show like that. All the trolls come in en masse, of course. Brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, they're on cue, aren't they? Like you say.
Hey, Randy, something else I meant to mention to you.
Yeah?
I was speaking to Nathan on Manx forums where the flat earth debate has been going on for 4 years in the flat earth thread. One of the funniest things that's happened lately is that one of the people in there actually said that Aristophanes is his hero.
I read this. This is China Hand, good dude, isn't it?
It wasn't China Hand, no. It was somebody else similar to China Hand. But I mean, how reasonable is it if you were to ask someone who's their hero? How many people are genuinely going to say someone from before Christ was born?
Well, it's Anthony's brought this up recently, and he's made that exact comparison. He's saying, well, he is basically their Jesus.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah. But if someone asked me my hero, I might say Paul Gascoigne, for instance, even though he's not a hero. But you get the sentiment, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't say that your hero is someone from before Christ was born, do you? Is that normal? I don't think it is. I think that's how desperate they are to believe in this stuff.
It's a religion, so it's going to have its, you know, what would he be? He'd be like a saint, wouldn't he? Seriously, it's their religion, man. Praise Helios.
No, it is.
Praise Helios.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been good to see you. You've done lately is amazing.
Yes, you've been following the compression stuff, and
yeah,
are you on board with that as well? I mean, you know, it's not my imagination.
Well, no, that's pretty much what you have been getting at for a while, isn't it? And suspected for a while, is that there's something about.
It's actually nice to hear it though, because you know when you keep going on about this stuff and you're presenting it, it's actually nice to hear someone come in and say, do you know what? I've been following your stuff and it's making a point. You're getting somewhere with it, and it's nice to hear that. When you don't hear it, it's, you know.
I
appreciate that.
Taking away all the magic tricks from them now.
Well, the trouble is that compression in inferior mirage. That once you understand what that actually does, you know, behind the inferior mirage, you've got the compression. Also have the compression. It's just on different days, so there's always the compression there, and then on some days you get the inferior mirage in the same area where the compression is as well. So you're just getting that effect as well as, but it's still being compressed. But it's still being compressed. And that's where it all goes. That's where everything goes, in that very narrow viewing angle. And
it's the view I can't resolve anything beyond smaller than half a pixel, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually, something will go so small. It's like you wouldn't be able to see a fly I wouldn't be able to see a fly on top of Snaefell. I wouldn't be able to do it. You know?
I know, we shouldn't have to be explaining this stuff, really, should we?
That's it. Or if there was a human up there waving on the top of Snaefell, even with my camera, I wouldn't be able to see it. The human's too small. You know.
I think you should just keep ramming the point home, doing your observations, and just keep at it, mate.
That's what I'm going to do. Keep going to this place. It seems like I've got so many other things that I can actually observe from up here. So many different mountain ranges.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much potential from this place. It's just a bit of a bugger to climb it.
Keep me fit, eh?
Keep me fit, all right, yeah.
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the Nathan Oakley audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this premiere. If you hated this show, then you know exactly what to do. Smash the dislike button, then smash it again. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!